Alright, the Shape Builder tool is one of those tools that'll drive you a little crazy until you get used to it. So it's fairly simple. It puts shapes together and it cuts shapes out of each other. So here's a perfect example of how it can do that. Here I've got a circle and a little triangle here. If I put these shapes on top of each other, it looks like they are together, but in fact they are not. And I need to make sure I keep that in mind. I've got two separate shapes here. If I were to just click on this and drag, it doesn't take both, right? So it's best practice to put these shapes together if I want them to live together. So Shift M is the shortcut for the Shape Builder tool. Looks like this right here. The Shape Builder tool, if you hover over shapes that you have selected, now you have to have multiple shapes selected. I've got these two shapes selected. I can see the different intersecting pieces of this. Now, I could cut shapes out using the Shape Builder tool. If I click right here one time, it separates this shape from its overlap. Notice it's showing the overlapping shape here. If I click there, it'll separate it as well. Watch. When I click off and move, you see it gives me different shapes there, even though that's not how I started, right? Now, if I were to select these shapes, even though they're separated at this point, click, hold, and drag through them, it'll combine all of those shapes into one single. You see now if I click on it, no matter where I go, it moves with me, right? Now occasionally it will leave some little odd areas. So if you look right here, you can see I've got these little pieces. You got to keep an eye out for stuff like that, right? Don't leave extra stuff. Now this circle, I want to put in the dead center of this shape. Best practice, turn it a color so you can see it, right? And with these two shapes selected, I'm going to grab them both. I get my alignment options. I'm going to make sure they're in the center here. Now, with this shape on top, if I hit Shift M and I click one time on that shape, click and release. Notice I had both selected. Click off and then click back on. I can now delete that center circle and I have a functional little shape here. Notice that I can see right through it, right? I've cut a hole completely through it. So that's how the Shape Builder tool works. That's the simplest form of it. But definitely there's a lot you can do with this, so experiment with this tool.